Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about 9 game-changing perks in Bannerlord. Let's get right to it. First, there is a bow perk at level 225 called Horsemaster. Now, what does this perk do? It lets you use any bow on horseback. If you didn't know, when you first start Bannerlord, you cannot use longbows on horseback, only short bows. Now, longbows, they excel in range and pierce damage, which is pretty much overall damage. And short bows, they excel in missile speed and also the speed in which you draw back the bow. So whenever you do get this perk, I do suggest you use longbows on horseback. It is much more effective, does a lot more damage, and you can reach enemies from way farther away. Second, there is a throwing perk at level 225 called Long Reach. Now what does this do? It enables you to pick up items from the ground whenever you are mounted. So in the Bannerlord, if you do not have this perk, you can pick up items from the ground, such as throwables, one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, bows, quivers, pretty much anything that can be used as a weapon and can be dropped by an enemy or a friendly that you can pick up while you are not on horseback. With this perk, you can pick it up while you are on horseback. This saves you a lot of time from actually having to dismount your horse, pick up the weapon, and then mounting your horse again. And it also lets you, it increases your speed, and speed is one of the most important things when it comes to Bannerlord, whether it's in a battle, on the campaign map, or anything of that sort. Third, there's a charm perk at level 175 called Good Natured. Now what this does is influence is returned on failed supported proposals. Now what does this mean? This means whenever you support a proposal, such as starting a war, making peace, voting on a fief, voting on a new policy, any vote that you do, if the vote passes, it's a win for you because obviously you wanted that to pass. But if the vote fails, all of your influence will be returned to you. And this is great because it pretty much makes it so it's a win-win regardless. Either you win the proposal or you lose, but you still get all your influence back, so you don't really lose anything. Fourth, there's a leadership perk at level 100 called Loyalty and Honor. Now what does this do? It does tier 3 plus troops no longer retreat due to low morale. So what does this mean? So pretty much whenever you're in a battle and you're starting to lose or you're heavily outnumbered, every single troop has morale on them. And sometimes that morale will go down if a lot of troops in their formation die or a lot of troops around them die, or if they see the tide of the battle changing, there is a big chance that they might decide to just retreat without you making the actual command of retreating. So they will pretty much desert the battlefield. But with this perk, Loyalty and Honor, tier 3 plus troops, they will never retreat even if they are at their lowest morale inside of a battle. They will fight with you till the end and they will follow your calls. But tier 2 and below, unfortunately, they will still do as they wish. But again, your higher tier troops, they will follow you to the death. Fifth, there is a Steward perk at level 100 called Paid in Promise. Now what this does is discarded armors can be donated for troop experience. Now what does this mean? Where can they be donated to? So whenever you're done with a battle, you have the option of gathering your loot from your enemies. So whatever has fallen on the battlefield, obviously at the end, you can see the prisoners you can take, you can see the troops that were prisoners from the enemies that you can take, and then you are faced with a bunch of loot that you can pick up. If you decide to not pick up the armor, that will be converted to troop experience that your troops will receive evenly amongst them. This is very good if you want to level up your troops. This is very good if you just got a whole new army of just recruits and you want to quickly level them up and you don't really care about the loot, or you don't really care about the dinars that the loot can bring you because you have plenty of money, but you do need troop experience. Very, very good late game. Sixth, there's another Steward perk at level 125 that's called Giving Hands, and it's very similar to Paid and Promise at level 100. Instead of discarded armors being donated for troop experience, Given Hands gives you discarded weapons are donated for troop experience. So now, if you have this perk called Giving Hands at level 125, if you do not pick up the weapons from the loot after a battle, they will be transformed into troop experience. And if you have both of these perks, Paid in Promise and Giving Hands, armors and weapons both can be pretty much transformed into troop experience. Again, very good perk for late game whenever you need to upgrade a lot of troops, whenever you're going through a lot of troops. If you're in war, you're always cycling through troops and you always need more troop experience, and you might not really need the loot or the dinars. So therefore, it gives you a little bit of a leeway. Do you want troop experience or do you want the dinars? 7th, there is a medicine perk at level 75 called Doctor's Oath. This pretty much means that your medicine skill will also apply to your enemies, which will equal more potential prisoners. Now, what do they mean by this? So whenever you level up your medicine skill, it does 4 things. First, your casualty survival chance is increased. Your healing rate is increased for your heroes and then also your troops. And then overall, your healing rate is increased if you are the governor of a settlement. But the most important part of this one is the casualty survival chance. So this means whenever one of your troops, companions, or even yourself gets downed in battle, there's a chance that they might die. But the higher your medicine is, the higher the chance that the troop will survive. And since this is applied to your enemies, if the enemy survives but is wounded, therefore they will become prisoners. 8th, there's an engineering perk at level 225 called Metallurgy. And what does this do? Well, looted items are less likely to have negative modifiers. So what does this mean? So there are modifiers in Bannerlord, some good, some bad. The bad include makeshift, broken, worn, and there's a couple of other ones and they appear right before the name of whatever the item is. This can go for weapons, this can go for shields, this can go for armor, for all of them. Tattered is another one, ripped is another one. There's a bunch of them. But what this perk does is whenever you are done with a battle, a siege, anything that gives you loot after, the looted items are less likely to have these negative modifiers, which will increase their value, increase their stats, and overall just, give you a lot better loot. 9th, there is a trade perk at level 300, which is the last perk in the trade skill tree, and it's called Everything Has a Price. This one is very important. It is extremely game-changing in my opinion. You can now trade settlements. This includes towns and castles, and you can do this through the barter screen. So whenever you walk up to a lord, there's a barter screen where you can do a trade with a lord. This increases your relationship if you do a good enough trade for that lord, and also if you want to get something from that lord. And with this perk, you can go up to the clan leader that owns a specific settlement, and you can negotiate for dinars, for your settlements maybe. You can trade your settlements off, or even for loot if you have enough loot for the settlements. Though the settlements are very expensive, we're talking in the millions of dinars, but it is an endgame perk where you should have that type of capital, have that type of income to sustain these types of trades.